Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield myself as much time as I may consume.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
The Biden administration has waged a war on American energy, and this war has made its way into Americans' homes. President Biden and the Department of Energy Secretary Granholm have sacrificed appliance affordability and reliability in their pursuit of a radical rush to green agenda. In the name of energy efficiency, the Biden administration has issued rules on home appliances that would drive up costs and make these popular products less reliable and available to the American families. The Biden administration's new rules do not save a significant amount of energy and are not cost-effective. The Biden administration's rules discourage the use of natural gas in favor of the electrification of appliances, regardless of the cost, reliability, or availability. Just look how they tried to ban gas stoves before my Save Our Gas Stoves legislation and public outcry dialed it back. House Republicans are leading to protect Americans from federal mandate that increase costs, fail to result in significant energy savings, and are not practical, and eliminate the performance features of product choices. My legislation, H.R. 6192, the Hands Off Our Home Appliances Act, fights back against the Biden administration's radical agenda and will preserve the affordability, availability, and quality of the household appliances Americans rely on every day. Enacted in 1975, the Energy Policy and Conservation Act, also called EPCA, provides specific criteria the Department of Energy must follow in order to propose a new appliance efficiency standard. It is supposed to result in a significant conservation of energy, be technologically feasible, and economically justified. The problem is that current law doesn't define the parameters for these criteria. So the Biden administration has ignored these critical consumer protections by proposing and finalizing standards that violate the statute. My bill will define how much energy or water has to be saved. My bill will define that any additional upfront cost to install a new appliance that has new mandated energy efficiency standards will be recuperated within a reasonable period of time. H.R. 6192 will protect affordability by requiring the Department of Energy to consider the full life cycle cost of appliances when determining if the new standard is economically justified. The bill requires a 3-year or less payback to the consumer and requires consideration of the cost for low-income households. No longer will the Biden administration be able to say a savings of 12 cents per month is economically justified, as they have done before. And no longer will they be able to have to will a customer have to hold on to their appliance for 8 to 10 or longer years just before they see any cost savings. The bill establishes a minimum threshold for energy or water savings that must be achieved before imposing new standards. The bill requires that any new standard must achieve at least a 10% reduction in energy or water usage. The bill prohibits the Secretary of Energy from banning products based on what type of fuel the product uses. So there can be no more natural gas bans. The bill requires that any new standard cannot affect the duty cycle, charging time, and runtime of the covered product or the lifespan of the products. You know, Americans want their appliances to work. The bill will allow the Department of Energy to amend or revoke prior standards if they don't save the consumers money and if the appliance doesn't work. Last week, I asked Secretary Granholm in committee some very basic questions about the Energy Policy and Conservation Act. I asked her, yes or no, do you agree that appliance regulations should be technologically feasible? Secretary Granholm said yes. Yes or no, do you agree that appliance regulations should not increase net cost for consumers? Secretary Granholm said yes. Yes or no, do you agree that appliance regulations should save a significant amount of energy? Secretary Granholm said yes. I stated to her that efficiency mandates increase the upfront cost of appliances, which can really hurt low-income families and renters who do not have the luxury of waiting years for the energy savings to break even. So I asked her, yes or no, do you agree that 3 years is a reasonable payback period for efficiency regulations? You know what? Secretary Granholm said she thought the payback should be done within 1 year. Thus, folks, Secretary Granholm is on record supporting every key element of my bill. In January of this year, the Fifth Circuit Court found that the Department of Energy has abused the law. In their opinion, they said Department of Energy failed to adequately consider appliance performance, substitution effects, and the ample record evidence that Department of Energy's conservation standards are causing Americans to use more energy and water rather than less. It's time to reform the Energy Policy and Conservation Act. Like our laws set speed limits to determine at what speed we are breaking the law, it is time to define what economically justified and technologically feasible mean. It is time to fight back against the radical agenda set by the Biden administration. It is time for our energy efficiency laws to actually save Americans money, actually save energy and water, and actually preserve Americans' consumer choice. I ask both Republicans and Democrats to support my bill, H.R. 6192, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman reserves